evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County for Wednesday, October 3rd, 2018. I am the Nighthawk, along with our studio engineer, Mr. Zach, and we have a full house tonight. After a summer disappearance of David Handy playing his Wednesday night golf league, he is finally back with us. So on the far end, welcome back, Super Dave. And in the middle here, our good friend, the summer replacement for Dave. And Dave, you should be worried.
I am.
The red man here, Mr. Nick Mumley, and my longtime pal, the Duke. And we hope to have a great show for you tonight, and let's get started. I actually want to give a special shout out to my golf partner, Joe Whittemore, of 35 years. We're out golfing today. Of course, I always believe the weather forecast. And it was
supposed to be nice this afternoon.
Right. Thank you, David. So my game plan was get a quick 9 in, go to my parents' mow their lawn. Should be real sunny at the end of the afternoon. So we have a 1:15 tee time, misty rain. So anyway, we go out there and there was a total of 2 other people on the golf course. So we start on the back 9, we just play the back 9, hits a nice drive on 10 and comes short. Of course, everything's soaked, nothing's bouncing onto the green. So he's short, takes this chipper out, and David, there was like an inch of rain on the green. I mean, well, I'm being a little facetious, but you know how when you putt and the water comes off your ball by about 2 inches? So he takes this chipper, hits it like 88 miles an hour, right to the hole in for a birdie. Okay, nice. So we go number 11. It's good drive, puts the ball in good play for a second shot. Third shot, hits in the front of the apron where he liked to bounce on the green, but there is no bounce. So he hands me his putter. Can you hang on to this for me so it doesn't get wet? So I say jokingly, well, what's the point? You probably don't need it anyway.
So another birdie?
Pulls his chipper out, probably 30 feet off the green, hits it. I mean,
really?
Again, to see the path of the ball off
back-to-back birdies?
2 back-to-back birdies with a chipper. And I said, Joe, I have never seen that on TV, let alone us bumps here at the Champlain Country Club. But it was a very soggy day out there. And I will say it was 53 degrees. It's been 53 the whole day. Has not changed 1 degree.
I can report Montreal had its coolest day yesterday since April 30th, I think.
So
about 55 or so.
And I did wear shorts and a short sleeve shirt.
We really did need the rain, and we still could use quite a bit more.
I was very happy with a rainy day yesterday.
So we will start with baseball. And again, Duke, I am not receiving enough, or I should say I'm receiving zero platitudes of my new innovation of baseball that I predicted 5 years ago.
And that's what Oakland's doing tonight, right?
Who's starting tonight, David?
Mr.
A relief pitcher.
Liam Hendricks.
Liam.
Okay?
Liam.
Now, on this very show...
You are absolutely correct, sir.
I told you should have patented that.
That is something I didn't read, did not hear. I just go by statistical analysis. And I said, this makes no sense when you talk about the closers and this, that, and the other thing. First inning, that's when the most runs are scored. You need an opener. Kevin Cash, who I think we all agree, if Bob Melvin doesn't get Manager of the Year, it should be Kevin Cash. Kevin Cash, for the most part, played the opener this year to success. And Oakland against the Sultan of Swings, the Bronx Bombers, they hold the all-time record for most home runs in the season. Rightly so, he's going with a relief pitcher. He'll probably face at least 4 batters first time around. But when Edwin Jackson comes in, he's only going to face those guys twice.
Edwin Jackson.
Edwin Jackson.
Now, Edwin Jackson was on my Nationals last year. Didn't make the team. He was down in Syracuse, and they gave him a June 1st opt-out, which he took, and sided with Oakland and pitched pretty well.
He's been on about half the teams in the major leagues.
I think he's played 11 or something. Maybe. So
I read that they're going to save him in case it goes extra innings.
Save who?
Edwin Jackson. He's their emergency.
No, he's pitching the second inning tonight.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, that's what correct? Right?
I didn't see that. So.
Nothing I can tell you.
I didn't see either one of those.
I haven't checked. I now have the Yankees app on my phone because I upgraded my phone.
Wow.
So
on MLB. So
here is my quandary. I always root for the underdog. i.e., Oakland Athletics started the season
Go
with
Oakland. No,
$66 million payroll. Red Sox
Unbelievable.
started the season with a $236 million payroll.
reminding
It's
me.
very easy to root for Oakland. What a season. A guy, Davis, who I'll talk about later, in my opinion, should be the MVP of the year. However, I have no dog in this fight. As just a generic baseball fan,
I'm excited for this game
would
as a
be-
baseball fan. Yeah.
it would be
so am I.
much more entertaining to me to see a Yankees-Red Sox series
Yeah,
coming.
I think that how I feel about it is I'm almost cheering for the Yankees tonight. I don't think they're going to win, but
Really?
I think that I think I will be pulling for them because we've been talking about this since February when the Red Sox signed J.D. Martinez and the Yankees traded for Giancarlo Stanton. This has been dominating pretty much the baseball headlines for months, the entire year. I think it would be unfair if the Red Sox and the Yankees didn't meet in a playoff series. I think that the only disappointing part about that would be that it's a 5-game series and not a 7-game series. I mean, for the Red Sox and Yankees to not play in this postseason would just be a giant letdown
Yeah.
for baseball.
Yeah, just for baseball fans in general. You got that. You've got the Cleveland-Houston, which I think is going to be
That
a
is
fantastic
two really good
series.
teams.
I think those are going to be. Honestly, I think that the champion of the American League comes out of that series is Houston and Cleveland.
Could very
I
well.
think that both of those teams are so good.
Yeah.
They've both got the pitching, and that's what matters. I don't think the Red Sox or the Yankees are going to have the pitching to get to the World
To
Series.
your point, Blake Snell won the ERA title with a 1.97, but 2, 3, 4, and 5. Two of them are Indians and 2 of them are Astros. It is going to be a fantastic series. And again, if the Sox and Yanks do, I mean, what a Hollywood script you have.
And
in
it's
front
all
of you.
about bullpens too. I mean, you look at what the Red Sox, Yankees, and even the Athletics have in the bullpen. There's really not a whole lot. I mean, the Yankees, they've got a decent bullpen, but do they have the starting pitching? You got to have, the perfect bullpen and the perfect pitching staff to get anywhere in the playoffs these days. So I don't think the bats are going to matter as much.
And 98% of the time, I would agree with that statement. However, you're talking about the Yankees. They may give up 7 runs, but they'll probably score 8 runs.
Well, who knows? They've had a lot of bad games where they played badly. Their fielding's not very good. Sanchez has been awful.
Right.
Their second baseman, he's had a lot of errors, and Andujar's had a pile of errors at third. And Voit is he's no Gold Glove first baseman either.
I didn't check the weather forecast, surprisingly.
I think it's
Wow.
supposed to be okay.
Okay.
Talking about for tonight?
Tonight, the Yankees.
Or last night, it would have been
Yeah, it would
wouldn't
have been
made
a
it.
washout.
I think they're okay.
But I think that if you take a look at Houston and Cleveland, those guys have been on cruise control since about June.
Yeah.
They knew they were getting in. So why even... They didn't have to put their foot in the gas like the Red Sox and the Yankees did.
Yeah.
I think the Red Sox and the Yankees are in for Houston or Cleveland. I think is going to win.
Yeah.
Now I want the Yankees, but I don't know. I just don't feel like they've really got it. Now, did you guys watch the game last night?
Boy, I
all
fell
of it.
asleep in about the 11th.
I only watched
I
about
watched the
3
entire thing.
Did it, what,
I
when did it end?
cannot
I
stand
heard you-
A-Rod. I can't stand that whole
I
play-by-play.
like Matt Vasgersian. I think Matt Vasgersian's a good play-by-play
I do
guy.
too,
But I
but-
don't think that Mendoza or A-Rod
Mendoza
are
and
very good.
A-Rod are just
They're horrible.
awful.
Don't like
And I
them.
read in the New York Post today, A-Rod whiffs at his playoff appearance.
Yeah.
He's not very good in the Jessica Mendoza, not hard on the eye, but it's just not that good behind the microphone.
I am so sick of all of these ex-jocks being colormen when they can't, half of them can't read or write. And I
Here,
just hate it.
David, you got a kid right here, Red, 19 years old from Highgate. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. He's more qualified to be doing the color commentary
Absolutely.
than A-Rod. There are people that go to journalism school and they have the natural gift. Some people can throw baseball 99 miles an hour. David, even in your prime, you could try and try and try. You can't throw 99 miles an hour. Some people just have the natural gift of gabbing. And I'd rather have a Joe Schmo from Idaho doing the color commentary that knows the game. Doesn't mean he has to have been a minor league player, but just understand. But it's painful to watch. And I swear to God, and I would say this to my aforementioned friend Joe, Red Sox get on national TV a lot. They get a lot of Sunday night ESPN games. And I always would say to him, boy, Joe, I feel bad for you. You've got the ESPN
Oh,
games.
they're
and you
so
have to,
awful.
They're terrible. They're just absolutely terrible to listen to. I probably watched the last 2 innings of the game last night just because it was extra.
It was a great game, though. I mean, there were so many storylines with from Nolan Arenado and I believe it was Javi Baez with maybe interference when they hugged each other in between.
I was watching them. That was very weird.
That not being called interference and possibly not breaking up what could have been a double play, to the Cubs batter pretending he got hit by the pitch, to the Rockies backup catcher driving in the winning run. I mean, this game was crazy. One of the longest postseason baseball games ever. It was just, I just hope that the rest of the postseason is this good.
But what came to my mind when Arenado and Bryant collided, and they kind of each gave each other a hug, to me, right away, was 2 union members coming together. Because, David, the old days, and again, I apologize for saying
Now, was it a real hug or?
Yeah, it was right. It was like don't fall, don't get hurt type hug.
Okay.
And the old days, David.
No.
It looked like
he
what the
would've knocked
NFL
him
wants
over.
a quarterback sack to look like.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
And what about the Cubs? I mean, what'd they score, about 2 runs in the last 50 innings?
Well, they were tired. They didn't have many days off. They had so many day games at Wrigley Field. That's the problem. I mean,
And what about last night? I mean, how weird was this? You have this long season, then you have 2 playoff games, counting as 100, and those stats
Monday's
Monday
game
count as
Right.
regular season
Like
stats.
the
And then
Rockies.
of course, they have to go to the do or die game last night.
Yeah.
One of the folks on Sports Talk Radio I heard said, "Gee, it's too bad they can't be flexible in their scheduling. They never should have had those guys playing the next night. They should have played Wednesday night
No.
and had the Yanks playing last night."
And the reason for that
would've
is the
been
Red Sox win how many games this year?
100.
No, but he's just talking about
Right.
it was unfair as it turned out to have them have to play the next day.
No, because how much further the Red Sox earned.
No, but I'm not talking anything about the Red Sox. I'm talking about the scheduling of what this
but
week.
if you keep moving the schedule back, the Red Sox.
No, I'm not talking about moving the schedule. His point was have flexible scheduling, and they should have had the American League do or die game last night to give the National League teams 1 day off after being in the playoff game. Nothing about the Red Sox.
But
just
I
saying-
think Houston is there a game Wednesday night?
Yeah,
Or
this
Thursday
is
night.
Wednesday.
Thursday night.
Thursday
No,
night.
he was
I don't
just talking
think there's
about
anything, no.
the National League game was scheduled for last night, Tuesday night. The American League game scheduled for tonight. He said in a perfect world, if you had flexibility, it would have made much more sense because of the 163rd game
Right.
to give the National League teams 1 day off instead of getting by that playoff
Well,
game and then having to
what
fly
I-
wherever they flew to.
What I think would be perfect is, I mean,
Right,
you
of
put
course
the
you don't
games
have
on the
that
you put the games on the same
flexibility.
day. I mean, maybe you have a team out west. You can start that game at 9, start the American League game at 5:30. I think that if they did it back to back like they did with the games on Monday, where they with the tie-breaking games, I think that was fantastic because you get to see that.
Oh, we got a call.
Oh, we got a caller. Okay.
Good evening. You're the first caller tonight on the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County. Hello.
Hello, how we doing?
Good caller.
How you doing?
Good. Welcome back, Dave. Good seeing you.
Glad to be
Good-looking
here.
Panel there.
Oh, thanks. We got quite a crew now.
Yeah, I want to get back a statement made about a minute ago about the players being tired. How do you get tired when you're 25 years old, in great shape? I work 5 to 7 days a week, 8 hours a day doing the work of a 30-year-old, and I don't come home and say I'm tired. I'll go on, mow the lawn, go here and go there. I don't buy that. They're tired. Let them try a real job 5 to 7 days a week.
Well, they haven't
when
ever
I
done
hear
that.
that, I just roll my eyes up and, that these people are pampered. You get tired when you get old. You don't get tired when you're 20, 25. I'm sure we all have some great stories when we were 20 years old. Things we did where we didn't get tired, stay up all night long and run around this and that. But, when I hear these guys being tired because they played 4 games in a row. I just kind of say,
Well, it was more than 4
"Gee,"
games in a row. It was more like, 40 games with, 2 or 3 days off every day. I mean, I think that I think fatigue is a factor. I agree with you that, maybe they haven't. I agree that, they aren't going to be, that they aren't the same level of tired as you are. But I think that fatigue is a bit of a factor as well. I think that, it's a full-time job playing baseball. I mean, you're at the ballpark early in the morning. You play a game, it goes, 10, 12 innings. You're not home till 2 in the morning.
Right,
You're
I
right
will
back
say
at
this,
9 in the
and
morning.
Dave will concur, because I played ball against
No,
Dave.
I don't agree.
I have never in my life, by playing baseball / softball, ever once have ever said, man, I'm tired. I might have been in the outfield.
Yeah,
saying,
but have you played baseball every day from March to
this
October?
Heat is getting to me, but when I played ball against Dave and his buddies, we played in a league, I would drive from Shelburne Road, race on the busiest road in the state of Vermont, okay? And I had a pretty stressful job. I would get to the ball field, and to me it was like, wow, what a breath of fresh air. Now, I played hockey for years. There were a lot of games I got to the bench and said, I am absolutely beat. I played ball with this guy on the phone too, where times in the outfield, and I was an outfielder, center field, there were times I might have gotten 2 balls the whole game.
Hey, we played one year. We had a tournament in Fairfield. We came out of the losers bracket, and we played 7 games that day.
One day.
In one day. Now, they're only 7-inning games. But
Only 7 innings.
But these guys, they could. They're living in the lap of luxury. I think our caller is right. I mean, if you're 25 years old and you can't handle a baseball game, shoot, they only bat 3 times a game.
Okay, so on your guys'
And you're sitting on the
logic,
bench. You stand out in the field
Yep.
for 20 minutes, and you sit on the bench for 20 minutes. If that makes you tired, I just don't buy that. It's maybe I'm from old school, but if they get tired, let them follow me around for a month.
on your guys' logic though, are you, if you're the manager of the Nationals, are you going to put Max Scherzer out every game of the year?
Because
there's no such thing as
he's
being
using
tired.
his arm. An outfielder, it's such a nothing job. Now, a guy like Mookie Betts is much better than most of them, but it's still such an easy job.
Pitchers don't have to run
Then
at
you
all.
come back to the bench. Now, I had just as much fun playing ball, getting back from playing defense, and I may not get on that bat. I like to talk a lot. You might not notice that. And I might be sitting next to David Handy, and we'll yap and yap and yap. Might talk about cars, this, that, and the other thing. Oh, third out. Back to the
So
outfield.
whenever Alex Cora or any of those guys give Mookie Betts or JD Martinez a day off, it's
called to me, it's a mental day off.
yeah. I think mental fatigue is equally up there. I mean, you play in 162 games over the course of pretty much an entire year. I think that I think
not
that
to mention spring training.
Right.
And
I think
hopefully
physical
postseason.
fatigue is there, but the mental fatigue
you
is there as
work
well.
300 days over the course of a year. I don't agree with you whatsoever. I think it's a
I think
big
it's
myth.
statistically
I
proven
work
otherwise, though.
every
Otherwise,
day,
managers
5 to
wouldn't
7
do it.
days a week, and I never complain I'm tired. I'm 61 years old. These guys are in the best shape of their life. Yeah, I just don't buy that. I can see like a hockey player getting tired. You're sprinting one end to the other, but not baseball.
No. Like I said, I've never gotten tired. And another thing about spring training, Dave Handy might be the best player on the Yankees. He'll get his work in. He'll play the first 2 or 3 innings in an exhibition game. David's allowed to leave the ballpark with his golf bag in his trunk. These ball players play a ton of golf, but people don't know during spring training.
A catcher probably. I would. Catchers, that's hard work.
Right. I will agree with that.
Nine innings of catching.
Yeah.
I just think that it's statistically proven otherwise. I mean, if these players weren't, getting tired, then why would managers sit them? I mean, there's never every baseball manager ever will sit his players for
I can
rest.
give you a question because I can't play Duke, Red, and Dave 162 games, and David gets hurt, and I've been sitting on the bench for 92 games and haven't gotten in the play. You have to let your backup guys
I think that like if what you guys were saying was really true, then I think that we would see Mookie Betts play 162 games as long as he's healthy. I think that it's beneficial for these players to rest. I think that they really do need it. I think that if you look it up, the stats are going to show that when they're well rested, they're going to play a lot better than they would if they've played 10 games in a row. I think it's statistically proven.
I wish you were my boss. And say, sit down, Bobby. You look tired. You need a break. Have a soda.
Well, I mean, they're living the life. They make $10 million a year.
Buys into
Now, I will tell you,
Right.
I'm glad you brought
And
that
look
up.
at the Red Sox, 108 games won this year.
Trey Turner of the Nationals played all 162 games. He's
They
the
really?
first player to play 162
That
games.
kid's a stud right there.
Since 2000, the shortstop of the
Is that
Colorado
the
Rockies.
first player in the majors?
Since 2000.
Really?
Nefi Perez, do you remember
Yep.
that name? 2000, he played 100. But
Really?
like Bryce Harper played 159 games. And again, I'm just going personal. Do you guys, Duke and Dave, tell me, do you ever get tired playing baseball? Unless it's a blazing, hot, sunny day where you're...
Well, don't forget, Cal Ripken only played, 2,300 games in a row?
in a row.
Is
Yeah.
that what it was?
I think that we're in a new age where these players are they are going to be able to perform better for short periods of time instead of more consistent for the longer periods of time. I mean, I can't say that I really can remember, especially compared to when I played hockey. I can't remember a time that I was overly tired after a baseball game. Now, granted, I didn't play a whole lot because I'm not very good at baseball, but that's okay. I don't think that. I think it's just completely different at the major league level, though. I think it's such a grind for these guys. They're at the ballpark every morning, at 9 o'clock if it's an afternoon game, noon if it's a late night game, and they're there all day. They got batting practice. They go through all their drills and stretches and stuff. I mean, they're working. They really are.
But you said 9 o'clock. Now, the caller's going to say, that's
I'm
fine.
still not convinced.
He
That's a
starts
pretty
work at
cushy
7 in the
schedule
morning.
you just
Yeah.
told me.
I don't
know.
think we're going to find
No.
any common ground here.
Yeah, next topic.
Yeah, anyways, the Cleveland Indians, I kind of look at them. These guys could be the spoiler, too, because, they have Kluber, of course, and they have Carrasco, and
Yeah.
who's the other one, Bauer?
They got
this year?
Bauer
Trevor
and
Bauer.
And, they got
one other guy.
Clevinger. They can reach into the
think of his
pen
name.
for.
Is Andrew
And
Miller better?
I'm not sure on him. I haven't
pitching,
heard,
isn't he?
but they've had some guys with banner years at the plate this year.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a hitting attack
Oh, yeah,
that can
Francisco
match up
Lindor, give
with
him the ball.
anybody. Now, they started out slow this year, and, then they came on, and in that division, 4th of July, they were done. But I'm telling you, these guys, I think, and I probably will be wrong, they can play with anybody. I think that series with them and the Astros is a very, very good matched up series.
Right.
That one will probably be better than the Yankees and the Red Sox.
Yeah, I agree. And I've been saying it all year since April 1st. The top 4 teams in the American League are far superior to the best team in the National League. I mean, it's not even going to be a good series, World Series this year.
I think
Of course,
it
I
could
don't.
be.
I just, I just think you can't.
Well,
you never know.
I think the
I-
Dodgers.
you got Mr. Kershaw.
I think the Dodgers are going to be
ever.
hungry for revenge this year,
Oh, yeah.
especially.
Dodgers are a pretty good team.
if they get-
Dodgers might, but I'm telling you, I'm a National Leaguer and I see these guys every day,
Yeah.
and they're just you can't compare
National
them.
League playoffs are going to be fun, but I don't think the World Series is going to be as fun because National League, they're very, very close. Everybody's so close together. I think that's going to be I think it's a complete toss-up on who's going to make it out.
And I
but-
agree with the call. I think this Cleveland-Houston series is the best matchup I've
Right.
seen in
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate for Boston because
Well, I'll let you guys go. I'm getting awful tired.
Thanks, caller.
Hey, thanks for
We'll
calling.
catch you guys later.
Okay,
Great
bye-bye.
show, guys.
Go Sox.
Bobby.
Now, Red, not to drive the point to you, but But the team I'm more concerned about is the Red Sox
Right.
sitting around all week doing nothing.
That's worse for you than playing.
Exactly.
Well, look at
What about Chris Sale having pitched all of like 27 innings in a couple months or something?
I think
I'd
you
be
got
able
to
to
be
work. And he
concerned.
hasn't been good when the last time he was terrible.
uneven.
The Red
at
Sox,
best.
the Red Sox top 3 pitchers have no career playoff wins. So, I mean, I think
As
they're
Dan
combined 0
Shaughnessy is
for
quick to
11.
point out.
So I'm incredibly nervous about everything that has to do with the
Yeah.
Red Sox that's
I
not
know.
at the plate. I think that, as soon as they have to pitch the ball, I am going to be on the edge of my seat because you never know what's
Yeah.
going
I
to
hear
happen.
you.
I can't
agree
trust
totally.
anybody in their bullpen.
I mean, if it's Red Sox, Yankees, Nick, I mean, toss up. You don't even favor
I can see the Red Sox
particularly.
winning in 4 games. I can see the Yankees winning, or 3 games. Yeah, three games. I can see the Yankees winning in 3 games. I can see it going 5. I mean, it's just such a toss-up. I don't think, I don't know what's going to
I
happen.
wouldn't bet a nickel. Both series.
Neither would I.
Both series, I would not bet a
Right.
nickel, and I love to run my mouth.
You can't bet on
I
baseball,
just
though, yeah.
I can't do it. But I will say this, too, about the Red Sox layoff. I believe it was 10 years ago. Do you remember Colorado and the Red Sox played in the World Series?
Red Sox swept them
Colorado.
after
They
their-
sat
Won like
for-
27 out of 30 games.
Right. And then they
Swept
sat
both
for a week.
series, and they sat for over a week.
And
in
got
fact,
swept.
And they got swept by the Red Sox.
Same thing with Detroit a couple years ago in the World Series,
Yep.
too.
Yeah.
They had like a 7-day layover.
Yeah.
Although,
Killed them.
I will say one thing about the Red Sox before we move on. If I'm Alex Cora, you've got Craig Kimbrell in the bullpen. He's probably not coming back next year. I am running Craig Kimbrell into the ground. If
But
I'm
he hasn't
Alex
been
Cora.
pitching
I'm
particularly
pitching
well
him,
either.
putting him in, 2 innings in the bigger games, not
he a
giving
free
him much
agent?
rest.
Yes, he is.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
he's
he's a free agent.
I doubt he'll be back
Of course,
because
the big Red
just
Sox
don't have the
question
money.
is, after this, record season, record number of wins, if they have a lousy postseason, does that make the season a failure?
We talked
And a
about
lot
that.
of
We've
people-
talked about it before. I
Bob
think
Ryan
that
says it doesn't.
I think
It doesn't.
I don't think it
would
does.
would you have
but I
rather
think
had them? Would you have rather had a Baltimore Oriole-like season?
No. They've had a good season.
I mean, hasn't that been for
listen,
Red Sox fans? The last 8 months have been unbelievable.
If they lose to the
6,
Yankees,
7, 8 months.
I'm not going to look at you and say, dude, they choke, they suck.
Yeah.
Because the Yankees are not a good team. They're a very good team.
Right.
Cleveland's very good. Houston's the world champ. The Red Sox, it's all equal. It's all equal. I wouldn't bet any amount of money with any of you guys.
So you
tonight
wouldn't say
to say
that?
Houston's better. No, I think.
But a lot of those guys are
there's
saying if
no.
Shaughnessy's line is if they don't at least get to the AL Championship Series,
No.
lousy season.
my-
How can you say that?
They're the defending world champions. Would they win 99 games this year, Houston?
Houston, I think
Yeah.
something like that.
Right.
Yeah, maybe 99.
I mean, Cleveland coasted, as the caller said. There was no competition. But as I said, they've got 2 of the top 5 pitchers,
Right.
ERA.
But I mean, what would you rather have?
My
the
reaction
Red
to-
Sox season or a Baltimore Orioles
Right.
season?
Yes, but my reaction to that is, what do you remember about the 2001 Seattle Mariners? That they
Oh,
won 110 games but didn't win the World Series. So they're not really considered when you think of, oh man, that's the best, like these are like the best baseball teams of all time. You think of the 98 Yankees
All right.
because they won the World
I
Series.
just think of it as a team. My team that gave me, that had an incredible year. And the last 6 months have been a
They were
treat.
good, but I think if they don't get to the World Series, it will be a disappointment. They'll
be.
Are you talking Red Sox
The Red
now?
Sox. That'll be ugly. The Yankees.
I think for a lot of fans it will be. I think some people are being a little.
Well,
harsh
I think
about it.
for Red Sox fans and in Boston fans as a whole, the season will be considered a failure if they don't win the World Series, which is unfortunate because
That's
it's not.
crazy.
But for my
Boston,
seat,
that's how Boston fans
I
are.
have never seen a greater disparity of talent from National versus the
that right?
American
Yeah,
League.
it's crazy.
And again, I watch National League. I am an expert on National League baseball. We're nowhere close.
there's
Dodgers might
nothing
give
there.
a push, but there's no other team.
Right.
Are you really afraid of Milwaukee and Colorado?
Yeah, I mean, who's
I don't-
Milwaukee?
to
gonna
be
put up
honest, I
against?
don't.
Go ahead.
I just don't,
Go
I
ahead.
just
Name me
don't-
Colorado's pitching staff.
I don't know him well.
Herman Marquez pitched very well against the
Right.
Dodgers the
But
other
if
day,
but
behind him, they have
I'm just
nothing.
telling you, and I would back up my National League, but it's nothing to
there,
compare.
yeah. I think that the real World Series this year is going to be the ALCS.
David, how many games did the
You'd
Yankees
think.
win?
You'd
100.
think.
They won 100. Okay. Okay. If I told you before the season started that the New York Yankees won 100 regular season games and beat you in the playoffs, you would say, well, I guess we gave a good fight. It's just very, very, very weird season.
Well, you had so many teams tanking now.
That's the thesis
problem.
of this whole conversation is the haves and have-nots. The Kansas Cities of the world, why spend $15 million a year on a player that can get me from 62 wins to 67 wins? It makes no sense. And the Atlanta Braves, the perfect blueprint. Braves were horrible for a lot of years. Kept stock in their minor leagues.
Houston, can we talk about
right,
Houston?
say. And I can tell you, Atlanta will not beat the Dodgers. Just will not happen. But the thing about Atlanta, and I was reading the other day and heard it, they've got so much pitching from every level of their minor leagues that they can do so much in the offseason with trades. They've got money now for free agencies. They want to fill the holes. But again, David, that was the point is Baltimore, how many games did they lose this year?
They only won 47.
They lost 116.
What an
116.
unbelievable-
Buck got
You want
fired
to talk
today.
about your buddy Buck Schultz? Do you give Buck any of the blame? You're always talking about what
No.
a great manager he
No,
is.
no.
They're a
not
bad
his
team.
problem.
He's unemployed.
Horrible team.
He got more out of them.
Really? They
Shoot,
shouldn't
they
have
beat
even
the
won
Yankees
40
8
before.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did well against the Yankees.
They,
I mean, who was their
What
best
a
player at the
horrible
end of it?
team.
I mean,
Right.
hey, you got
They
Chris.
didn't have anybody.
Not Chris Davis, but the other Davis.
No, it's Chris with a C. He batted 176, I think, this year.
Did he get up to 176?
right?
I thought he was 160 something.
It probably might be 167.
right?
I might be inverting
With
the
like
numbers.
500 strikeouts.
Right. So,
And they're paying him. They still owe him like 60 million
yep.
left.
Buck got fired
Wow.
today, and
Oh, did he get fired
yeah,
today?
Duquette is heading out the door. the
Right.
Yeah,
GM.
what about Duquette?
He'll be gone.
Yeah, they said he'd be fired as well. And I
is
think
that right? Buck
the
got
Orioles,
fired?
they got to look at what the Braves have done, what the Phillies have done, what the Astros have done. They're in a terrible spot right now, but they're going to have the first pick in the draft. They're probably going to have the first pick in the draft for the next 2-3 years. They got a bunch of prospects for the Machado. They got a bunch of prospects for Scope. Britain as well. So they've got a lot to build with. They've got a lot of building blocks. And I think, 5-6 years down the road, we're going to be looking at the Orioles as a good team in baseball.
And let me ask a Yankee fan and a Red Sox fan. You tell the fans in Yankee Stadium, you tell the fans in Fenway Park, be patient for the next
5 years, forget it.
It would never happen.
No.
These
Right.
teams,
Good luck.
you can't even, as the Yankee or Red Sox, say to the fans, no, we're rebuilding this year.
Never used it.
You
Right.
can rebuild one season.
Yeah, there's
The
one-
Red Sox
one year.
did after what was it?
They were a last
Bobby
place team.
Valentine.
A couple
2
times.
years in a row.
You can go. They'll give you one season.
Yeah.
The Yankees were way ahead of schedule last year.
Yeah.
But that is an issue. Thanks for bringing that up. Or teams tanking, knowing that we're going to tank next year, we're going to lose 110 ball games, and that's okay.
Well,
think-
if they come up with a new contract with the union, there's a lot of things that I think that'll change. If number one is the salary cap is turned into a hard salary cap.
It will, you say?
No, it has turned into a hard salary cap because
Red Sox didn't abide
they
by
were
it.
the only one. Even the Dodgers are under the
Right.
salary cap this year.
And the Yankees, you weren't around. First time in 20 years, David, they did not have to pay a luxury
Right.
tax, and they've paid $319 million. In the last year.
now, and then the luxury tax gets reset. So they can go way over next year,
No,
and then the tax will only be like 10%.
Yeah, it was 197 this year. I think it's going up to 206 next year.
So that is a big deal. But then the whole business with the 6 years and the free agents and old players, and they've the rosters. I still think that
You're nuts.
I still think they should put another couple players on because all these teams now are carrying 12, 13 pitchers.
Right.
And they've only got usually one outfielder / infielder and a backup catcher and maybe one guy on the bench. And that's just not enough.
The thing about the Yankees, though, is you got this money. Where are you going to put it? I mean, this is.
Oh,
they
they're
have-
gonna.
They have such a good roster
They're
already.
gonna be. But you know what? These guys, when they come up, look at the Cubs. everybody thought the Cubs were going to be great for about 10 years.
Long time.
I think they will be. I don't
Oh,
think that
they're
this
going to
is-
be okay.
I don't think that this is by any means the end of their dynasty. They just had a down year. I mean, they had a lot of injuries this year. They had a lot of guys that
They were
didn't
lucky
pan out.
to get by Washington last year in the
Right.
first round. Then they got knocked out in the
I
second
think they're
round.
a good team.
They're a good team, but
well,
they
like
don't scare me.
Scherber, everybody thought he was going to be the next Babe Ruth.
Oh, Kyle
Schwarber is his
Right.
name. I mispronounced
He
it.
dropped 20 pounds in the offseason. Yeah. Well, he's
But I mean, they still at the end of the day, they still have Rizzo, Chris Bryant. I mean, John
But they
Lester.
didn't play that good. And then you look at, I mean, who else?
And they have Joe Madden, who's one of the best managers in the game.
Well, there's a lot of folks in Chicago don't like him
yeah.
because he's so.
You'd be crazy if you're a Chicago Cubs fan and you don't like Madden. You're insane.
I think he started to wear out his welcome
I was
already.
even hearing speculation today. Might
It's
he get
crazy.
fired? I
He
can't-
brought them a
he's
World
not-
Series
He's
for
a
the first time
very
in
quiet,
108
arrogant
years.
person. I don't care
arrogant.
for
He
him.
is.
Arrogant sounds
I don't
like a
care
good
for
word.
him either, but he's
Yeah.
he's
Still,
good
got
at
a
his
pretty
job.
good
I mean,
track record.
He did
he's
something
good.
nobody was able to do in 108 years. If you're a Cubs fan,
I couldn't believe it. I'm
and
hearing
you don't
people
like this guy,
wondering
you
if
are
he's going to
crazy.
be fired.
But you go, all right,
Forget
now.
about it. That's
let's-
insane.
You got Houston, which followed the Cubs' plan, and they're about a year behind them. All right. These guys, what happens is these guys get fat and happy pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Davey, you get one ring on your finger and you're happy. You don't need to.
There's something about it, and these guys, they just don't work as hard. Look at Sanchez this year. What a terrible season the guy had. He was just awful.
I couldn't believe how bad he was. His defense is
Now,
atrocious.
he may have been hurt.
Yeah.
And
I don't think he was hurt.
but whatever he had, he played terrible.
Well,
Now,
I think
2 years ago, the guy had 30 home runs
Right.
in 80 games or something. Mm-hmm. And this year, he hit 12 home runs or 14 home runs,
he's batting 8th tonight.
and he hit under 200.
Right. I think that it's good. I think that players like Gary Sanchez, the three of us talked about it at the beginning of the summer for, about a month straight about how baseball is being ruined by these kind of players. Gary Sanchez is the poster boy for these kind of players. I mean, they talk about a guy who's either going to strike out or hit a home run. There's no other thing. He doesn't do anything else. He doesn't play defense. I'm sure Fitzy's out there just going crazy every time he sees Gary Sanchez because I think he's the worst baseball player I've ever seen.
Your thoughts on Mr. Sanchez, Dave?
He is
Well,
bad.
he's bad, and but he's like heroin because you look at that power, you look at that hit tool or whatever the hell they call it, and you go, wow, this guy, because last week what he had he had a 4 or 5 RBI game against the Red Sox, a home run, and it's there,
Yeah.
but where does
Lazy.
Yeah.
That's his problem.
Where does it come
He doesn't
from?
want to work.
Right. They should take all this catching gear and burn it and
Right.
just make him a DH and go from
Well,
there.
what do you do with Stanton?
Right,
And
well-
we got enough of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at who the Yankees have on their outfield in their postseason roster. In the outfield, they have Judge, Stanton, Aaron Hicks, McCutchen, and like Brett Gardner and one other guy. I'm forgetting his name, but they have 6 stud
Yeah,
outfielders.
you're right. And that's
Just
back
like,
to our
wow.
point 15 minutes ago. If the Yankees beat the Red Sox, I just don't want to hear a Red Sox fan
Right.
bellyache about, oh, we didn't have a good season.
You certainly won't hear that from me.
No, I don't think any logical Red Sox fan will say that. I think that you're going to have your just regular old diehard Boston fans
Yeah.
who are going to be like that, and it's just going to be
I
terrible.
want to throw out
Let's hope it doesn't happen.
pretty cool stat. The upcoming Cy Young Award winner in the National League, Jacob Degrom, who went 10-9.
Was he so named, or are you saying
He
should-
will be.
He's gotta be.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that
Oh.
right? He will be.
You got to be crazy to
He had
not.
a 1.70
Wow.
ERA.
Is that right?
He went 10-9. Now, he led the major leagues in ERA with a qualified amount of innings. Now,
How many innings?
oh,
What's qualified? 150,
180,
150 or something?
I can't remember. Red will check that out.
look it
Now, the person who qualified for the worst ERA in baseball was the former Nationals' #1 top prospect that got traded to the Chicago White Sox, Lucas Giolito.
Yeah.
He had a 6.13 ERA. Now,
He pitched 217 innings, which I believe led
Really?
led the
That's
well,
league.
Scherzer had more
Is that
than
right?
him.
Yeah, you're right. I think
Okay,
by maybe
now-
Didn't he
like
have
2.
26 or 27 starts of at least
3
six-
runs or less.
3 runs
Yeah,
in a row?
if he got the same run support that Scherzer had, he would be like 25 and
25.
2, I think.
Yeah. Now, Giolito, as I said, 6.13. He also had 10 wins.
Yeah, so wins don't count for
Right,
much.
wins don't. So as much as I like Scherzer, and Scherzer won the Cy Young last year, and he had a better year this year than he did last year. But Degrom, Scherzer went 2.53, which is great, but a 1.70 is nuts. And our old friend Blake Snell went 1.97 for Tampa in the American League.
He should get the American
21
League.
wins, he'll get easily, should be unanimous. And I think I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I didn't even know who Snell was. He actually was the minor league player of the year 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Just kind of.
They weren't even going to put him. They didn't even put him on the All-Star team till
Right.
about all the guys got hurt.
Yeah.
He was like a last-minute replacement.
Yeah.
And Scherzer outpitched DeGrom by 3 2/3 innings. So
Okay.
about the same.
Yeah. Scherzer had 300 strikeouts.
Yeah, but DeGrom wasn't far behind.
Yeah.
And Blake Snell, the obvious winner in the American
Yeah, I
League.
think
Well, I
Chris-
think
Chris
Sale would've
Sale,
had it if he'd
would've-
have
yeah,
finished the
if he
season.
would have finished the season, he definitely would have been,
Yeah,
in the
could be.
discussion. But the fact that he missed the last
No,
month
forget
and a
it.
half.
Forget
no,
it. Don't
not-
even mention him.
So, David, I have a question for you. Of course, Red's going to say I'm nuts and all that. I'm sitting here saying that Chris with a K Davis should be the most valuable player. Not saying he's the best player. I could probably name 3 top of my head. Martinez, Trout, and Betts, a better ball player. All of my qualification is if I took a body off a team. Okay, now Chris Davis, 48 home runs, and for runs batted in, 123.
The thing that gets me, though,
Second
is he's
to
hitting
JD
247.
Martinez, who had 130. Now, I can assure you, Boston's lineup was a little bit more prolific than the A's were. And Chris Davis should get it, but from my hearing is he won't get
I
it.
think you got to give it to Mookie Betts.
Really, you don't think Mookie should
Yeah.
get it?
Oh,
Well, Mookie's a 3,300
Mookie's the
guy.
best player in
That's-
the league. Yes.
That's my
I
thing
agree.
with Mookie.
But I'm talking the trophy MVP. If you took Mookie off the team versus taking Chris Davis off the
Yeah,
team.
but I think that I just think that on paper that's how it should go, but I don't think that's how it's
Right.
going to go.
No, I
Look at
agree.
the NBA. I mean, if you on paper LeBron James should win the MVP every year, but they go after
Agreed.
who has the best storyline. Like last year it was James Harden, the year before Russell Westbrook. I mean, these are the guys that that are the best that get people talking the most throughout the season. So I don't think it's on paper if we took this guy off the team who would be who would suffer the greatest. I think it's the best storyline, and I think that storyline is the fact that Mookie Betts hit over 300, stole 30 bases, and hit 30 home
Right.
runs.
And again, he's the better player. However, the Red Sox won 108 games. So they take Mookie. Mookie was never born. Okay, so they ended up with 96 wins. I can assure you, by taking Chris Davis off the Oakland A's, they would be a 500 team at best. And again, it's not a Player of the Year trophy; it's an MVP.
Hey, Billy Bean, I was reading today, they've been in the playoffs, 5 out of the last 8 years or something?
like
It's
that, yeah.
impressive.
And they got us.
They've been good.
Look at the trade he made with St.
Very
Louis for
impressive.
that
Piscotty.
poor fellow that had his mom. His
Yeah,
mom had
Stephen
cancer.
Piscotty,
Yeah.
Who? Oh yeah,
He's been a very good
I'll
player,
give you
too,
another
yeah.
one. Blake Trinan, their closer.
Yep.
He was on the Nats this year, April, and I'm sitting there saying, "Get rid of that bum. You stink. I've seen enough of you, Blake Trinan. All this potential." They finally get rid of him. Goes to Oakland, and what's he get? About 40? No, it was 40. Diaz was from Seattle, right, with 57 saves.
Yeah.
But Trinan ended up with I'm looking here. AL saves. Blake Trinan, 38 saves
Yeah.
for Oakland.
Yeah,
So-
I think, it's gonna be interesting for sure. But yeah, I think-
Another question too, and I know it's early to talk about free agency, but you mentioned Kimbrough being a free agent. Now, Greg Holland was a free agent last year. Great career.
Yep.
He signs in the 13th hour with St. Louis, a 1-year, $14 million contract. St. Louis cut him just outright. His ERA was around 7. Okay, Nats picked him up, pitched great, but of course, 0 pressure.
Right.
What's the market now for a closer?
I think we're gonna find out
I
this
think
year.
so.
I think closers are just losing their value every day because
Thank
you've
you.
got Edwin Diaz, who's going to go out and throw for 57 or whatever.
57
it was,
saves, Diaz.
which is impressive. But I mean,
Oh, yeah.
he's not a guy that you're going to pay $20 million a year. He's some guy who just
Well,
randomly
relief
showed up.
pitchers all have been getting more money.
Yeah, I think that's for relievers, though. I think the closer is less important. It's less and less important because they pitch the 9th inning. I think there's guys who pitch the 7th and 8th are much more important than the closers.
Sounds like my son.
Well, what did Chapman get? Chapman got 5 years and $85 million or something.
Yeah.
So what's
But
that?
I think that's 3 years ago baseball free agent market, which is so much different than it is now. Just look at JD Martinez. I think I think you're going to see Bryce Harper get.
Bryce Harper
similar,
would be
so-
lucky to get $200 million.
Right, like
Are you nuts? Why do you say that, first of all?
Well, number one, $200 million is still a hell of a lot of money. And number two,
I just think the market's
and
bad.
number two, what did he hit? 220?
No, he.
Did he get his average up?
I knew
What do you
David.
think- what do you
He
think-
played
what do you think
much
his-
better in the
his
second half.
on-base percentage was, David? Is that
Not
a,
that great, was it?
No,
Oh,
it was
that
very
great?
good
David,
because
okay,
he
listen to
walked
the
a
stats.
lot.
He played 159 games. He did hit 249. David, he hit 34 home runs, 100 RBIs, 130 walks. That led the majors.
He had a good second half.
13 steals. OP on base percentage 393. He's the only guy in baseball this year to have 100 RBIs, 100 runs, and 103 runs and 100 walks. That's pretty impressive. Now, if his batting average was 269 versus 249, you wouldn't say much. Now, he's
I still think
expecting
even if he
a
hit
10-year
400.
contract. One of the reporters asked him about an 8-year contract. There was a huge sign in Nats Park about, we want to have you 8 more years. And Bryce Harper has a quiet arrogance. He goes, 8 years? I'm looking at 10. The Nationals outfield, they'll have runner-up rookie of the year. I think he had just as good, if not a better year than Acuna, but Acuna is a sexier player. You'll have Victor Robles, who's a much higher prospect than Soto is in center, and you have Adam Eaton, who hit 300 in right field. We really don't need Harper.
Yeah.
If we re-sign him, I'll take him. But if he's going to average out minimum $25 million a year, which I think he will, I'm thinking, David, he's going to get 10 years, $300 million.
I wouldn't pay it.
But here's my issue with that. In this day and age of opt-outs, I don't want to go through this circus every 3 years of, well, is Bryce going to stay or is he going to go?
Well, all the guys that signed opt-outs the last couple of years, they aren't opting out
No,
because,
because
the money's
They know,
less.
yeah,
Right.
they know they're going to make a lot less
You think
money.
David Price is going to opt out?
Of course not. Of course not.
who in their right now?
Exactly.
How would
Or Kershaw?
anybody pay him
But JD
big money?
Martinez signing that pauper contract, $22 million with the numbers, 43 home runs this year,
130
RBIs.
330.
$100 million bucks is still a damn good deal. $22 million a year, and the guy can't play defense. He's
That's
just
not
a
true.
hitter.
Not true. It sounds
He
like he's
played
an
defense like 60 times a year. 60
sounds
times
like
a
he's
year.
Yeah, but he's
average.
I
He's
think
not
it's fair
terrible.
to say that he can't play defense. When he's playing in less than half of the games defensively, I think that it's safe to say he's the
He's
difference.
They
not
don't-
playing because look who's in the outfield for the Red
Right,
Sox.
right. But that's not what they're paying.
And I'm
him
not
to do
saying
by
he
any
isn't
means.
good because he's a hell of a hitter.
Right.
He's really good.
Oh yeah.
But $22 million bucks is good money. That's not like one of these guys that signed at the last minute for like Moreland.
Right. And the only
Moreland,
problem
who
was
did tail off for
though.
the
Yeah.
second straight year.
But
in the
I'll tell
second
you, a
half
guy
with
that
a-
actually got a legitimate contract didn't perform. Eric Hosmer with the Padres.
Yeah.
Might have hit 16 home runs, 70 RBIs.
Yeah.
But
The problem
I
is,
think
though-
this year the market will really be set, and I think we're going to know for the future what it looks like. Manny Machado
Right.
is a more valuable player. He's an infielder.
I wouldn't give him $300 million bucks either. No way.
Now, I've had a ton of people, David, ask me, where's Harper going? The only rumor I've heard all year is Philadelphia. I heard a rumor the other day that Philadelphia may open up their wallet and not only sign Harper, and they would go after Machado as well.
Really?
I think that, you've got to take into account that at the beginning of free agency, JD Martinez was saying, I want 7 years, $30 million a year. And, I'm going to take nothing less. And then he sat there for 3 months. Nobody showed any interest. Now the Red Sox showed up and said, we'll give you 10, we'll give you, 5 years and,
110.
And,
Five for 110.
Yeah, and, $10 million less than you, or a year
And
than you
with an
asked.
opt-out. With an opt-out.
With the
too.
opt-out. And he said, yes, I think that's the market we're going to be looking at, because remember that the owners still hate Scott Boras. And if I remember correctly, both Bryce Harper and Manny Machado have Scott Boras.
Yes.
So I think realistically, we're going to be looking at, a maximum of $25 million a year for these guys.
I agree.
So I think that while they still might get, 10 years each, I don't think that it's going to be, $300 million.
And the most impressive number on Harper is 25 years old. So even if he does sign a 10-year contract. Now, David, Red Sox paid the luxury tax this year. There actually was one other team, and that was the Nationals. They only paid about
they were just
million and a
barely
half,
over, yeah.
just chump change. But we really, and again, I think he's a very good player. That 249 doesn't look good, but a batting average isn't an important statistic anymore. It's the on-base percentage. I don't want to ruin our pay scale by giving him $25 million. I mean, we need a catcher, we need a second baseman, we need another starting pitcher.
I think the Nationals would be much better off to just, say, that we'll
Thanks,
we'll offer you we'll give you a qualifying offer, take that draft pick and then let him walk, because, they can spend that money so much better elsewise or otherwise. I mean, you look at it, the salary he's going to get, you're going to be able to get, 2, maybe even
agree.
3 very serviceable players. Nationals need some serviceable players. They need some depth on that infield.
Yeah.
They need some help around, the Trey Turners of the world. Ryan Zimmerman's not getting any younger. So, I mean, they're in a situation where they got to start looking towards the future.
Well, what I would do, and last on Harper here, if they signed him, I would get rid of Zimmerman. He's got 1 year, $20 million left for next year.
Yeah.
It's hurt every year. Right. I would make Bryce Harper a first baseman and keep Robles,
That's
Soto,
an interesting concept.
and Eaton in the outfield. But the problem is, Yankees don't need another outfielder. The Red Sox don't need another outfielder.
Can't
the
afford
big
him either.
spenders aren't out there.
I think the Dodgers might be out there. I think, I don't think that Bryce Harper's necessarily going to go to that big market, classic, big name free agent team either. I think that he really struggled under the pressure this year. It took him, half the season to figure things out in a contract year in a big time market. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go to a Milwaukee Brewers or maybe a Cleveland Indians, not a team that's still competitive, but not going to be under that spotlight from March to October every year.
David, the interesting thing about Harper, he had 137 hits this year, 130 walks. That's a pretty
So
incredible.
on-base percentage was what, Hawk?
393,
Wow.
and the
Which was
average.
top 10, like I assume.
Yeah,
sure.
he's like
Yeah.
probably the third. Joey Votto usually wins the on base. The average on base percentage, which I couldn't believe it was this low, is 318.
Yeah.
Wow.
With
Yeah.
the major-
Well,
That goes to show all or nothing for these
The other
guys.
problem you're going to have, teams like Cleveland, they aren't going to be able to take him because their attendance
They don't
this
draw.
year,
Exactly.
their attendance, as good a team as they had, they were still down.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Oh, weird.
baseball attendance this year was way off.
Yeah, it was Dan.
And the other thing is what they really got to do. Of course, they won't do it. They won't listen to us.
Why wouldn't they listen to us?
What they should do, number one, is cut the season down to 154 games. Start a week or two later. Get done a week. Get done so that the World Series is absolutely done.
No November. About mid-October.
Done by October 20th.
Yep.
Because,
I think you'd have to cut it down a little bit more than to 154.
well, you,
I think, if you do maybe 140, I think you can get that to work. And I agree with you because, you look at April. I mean, that's been a terrible month for baseball last couple of
Wow,
years.
it was
This year,
awful.
Having
And
the Yankees
right
get
now,
games
it's just-
snowed out, like, come on, yeah, you can't have that.
The Nats played a ton of games in the rain.
Right.
The DC area, it got more rain and over this year over the last half century.
Yeah, I think teams. I think that we should just have a shorter season and just more games in a row, not as many days off. I think.
they're
Or
doing-
so are the
of course,
players
that's the
going to
opposite. They
take a
gave more days
corresponding
off this year.
cut in pay?
Right.
I doubt it.
Right, we cut the season down
Oh, yeah,
15%.
the union's going to love
exactly.
this, right?
And of course, then the TV money, would that be less?
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
a great idea.
It's a
and of
great
course
idea,
It's never,
but-
ever
right.
going to happen.
Right. Yeah.
So I want to jump into golf just because what a unique weekend.
Thank you for not saying, I meant to mention last week, I was going to give your president some grief, not getting into politics. I heard him say very unique the other day.
Okay. And David and Duke are bigger inside golf guys than me. But I just had the general sense is the U.S. was there, gay Paris, but it's not that important. Where Europe was,
They killed us.
we want this cup. And I'm going to let Dave and Duke do all the talking here. But the two things that stuck out was Kopka,
Koepka.
and
the unique name.
Dustin Johnson getting in a fight on an airplane.
I just
They're denying that now.
They are.
They're denying
And
it?
it's.
And the other one was Patrick Reed. Apparently, he doesn't get along with Jordan Spieth.
No, he actually wanted to play with him, and he feels he got stiffed by either Jordan or Furyk. I actually heard Patrick Reed on the guy I love, Sirius XM radio.
Right.
I've been listening to that for days. Patrick Reed called him up. I don't think they even
Oh, wow.
tried to get him, but I didn't hear him talk about that issue.
So,
But yeah, there was
you
some
guys
stuff.
go to square one, and what the hell went wrong?
I don't think we need deep analysis. How about Europe was a better
They're
team?
better.
Playing on their home course.
They're better. Number
Better
one.
suited for them. They're a better team, and you're right. They're clearly more into it.
Hey,
the
the-
Ryder Cup means the world to Europe. It doesn't mean the world to
doesn't.
the U.S. millionaires.
The coaches.
It means something, but
The coaches' picks were a hell of a lot better.
I mean, Phil Mickelson. There's a great choice.
Phil-
to have. It's
Phil
been
was
terrible.
worthless.
Yeah.
And Tiger.
And
did
Tiger was, or the Tiger was
looked beat.
cooked.
Tiger looked like he was dead out
He looked
there.
like the first day. He looked like a zombie. I've never seen him
Looked
look
dead.
Well, Tiger, of course, you had to take Tiger because he played really well the last 3-4 weeks.
One attorney.
I
He
mean,
did. He almost
that-
won the 10 mil.
That tour championship, that was really something. That was
Yeah.
pretty.
That's pretty cool.
That
Even
was
I watched a
compelling,
little
yeah.
bit of that. Yeah.
That was compelling.
Yeah, you
but,
got some of that.
Yeah.
but with the Ryder Cup, and they're crapping all over Furyk and this and that.
Hey, Europe was a better team.
They got
played some
beat.
great golf.
But not where they were better, but they were so much better. What was the final score?
17.5 to 10.5.
I mean, that's
Rout.
a landslide.
It's a rout.
They had nothing.
Yeah.
The only guy that played Thomas, I think, was 3-1 or 4-1.
Thomas played
Tony
pretty
Finau
well.
played.
Killed Tommy Fleetwood, who had been 4-0 at that point.
Tony Finau played well. The rest of them all sucked.
David, I'm the captain of the Ryder Cup. We get into Paris. We have a big plate of spaghetti and just gallons and gallons of beer. I've got
wine,
my-
maybe wine.
Well, I like beer. So we sit around the table. I'm going to say, who do you guys want to play with? Who are you most going? I don't think the coach, the captain, knows the personalities as well as the players. I mean, who'd you rather play with, Phil Mickelson or Bob Burnell? You've been playing with Bob Burnell for 40 years. Will you feel more comfortable out there with Bob?
But again,
it shouldn't be your choice.
You know what? You brought up that makes a good point. I watched one of these guys on the Golf Channel say that the big difference between us and the Europeans is those Europeans go to play to win. They get drunk every night.
Yeah.
They have a good time. The Americans look like they're trying not to lose. Koepka and Johnson were so tense and played so poorly. Of course, Johnson's got a lot of stuff going on between him and Paulina.
Yeah.
And it's hard to play when you're
His
whole life-
relationship looks pretty shaky right now.
And well, supposedly he's been fooling around, but he's been a little bit of a player.
Dustin
anyway.
Johnson is a player, and I'm not
And,
talking golf.
But he hasn't played well. All right. All the guys that qualified for the team, but they didn't look like they were having fun. Those European guys, they just go out and they're just like, this is our weekend. Let's go get them, boys.
Yep.
And also, they're smart. And again, the host country or Europe, I mean, they're playing on the course they picked out, Le Golf National outside Paris. Tight fair. Can I read a little bit from the Wall Street Journal?
Feel free.
This summarizes it very well. I mean, I'm listening. I probably heard more on radio than TV. Every 5 minutes, and these are American, whoever the announcers were on the PGA channel. Hey guys, you got to hit it in the fairway. They're just, you could hear these guys just ripping their hair out. What is wrong with the U.S.? They've got to keep it on the fairway. This is just a little bit from the Wall Street Journal. American golfers have seldom been successful when the biennial event is held in Europe. They've won only once here since 1981, not since 1983. They seem particularly uncomfortable on a course whose tight fairways, modest length, and heavy rough rendered ineffective the predominant style of the best U.S. players. When precision matters more than power, a rarity in modern American golf, Europe is generally better off. Quoting Francesco Molinari, he wasn't too good.
Nah.
How good is this
Oh,
guy?
that guy played great.
That guy's great. These were the best conditions possible to play our best golf, and this was the result. The U.S. pinned its hopes on the belief that its roster of elite players could adapt to any course, but everything about the business of golf in America works against that possibility. The courses on the PGA Tour, and I'm happy to say Hilton Head's the exact opposite. You have to play golf. You can't just kill the ball there. That's why I love that place. Courses on the PGA Tour generally allow players to bomb away off the tee with confidence that if they miss a fairway, the penalty won't be too severe. Quoting Tony Finau, "There's a lot of courses we play where the rough is not an issue," said Finau, who went 2-1 in his Ryder Cup debut. PGA Tour is controlled by the players who are endorsed by equipment and ball manufacturers who can better market their products with a game that incentivizes, I hate that word, raw distance. I'll stop there.
Yeah.
So it was a tight course. It wasn't particularly long, 7,100, but the Europeans kept the ball in the fairway. That was, it's about all they had to do.
Well,
Anyway.
if you go back to the year 2 years ago when they played in Minnesota,
Exactly, bomb away, no
they
rough.
no rough,
Long
pins
course.
right in the middle.
Sure.
It was like a shooting gallery.
Sure, exactly.
So-
that says it all.
But why would they take a guy like Phil Mickelson, knowing the type of course?
I think
Phil's
just
not conducive to
I think
that
just
type.
with the history, just because he's
Phil's,
Phil Mickelson. He's Phil.
but let's
But
face
that
it,
was a terrible thing.
Phil's in the toilet. He's done.
That's it.
And the
No,
other
it looks
interesting
like it.
thing,
Of course,
too-
I thought, for the record, I thought Tiger was maybe not in the toilet, but would never come back. to
Who'd
where he's
ever
come
thought
back.
Tiger'd ever
Phil?
come back?
I don't think Phil's going to
David,
do it.
One thing too, the captain picks, the record was like 2-9, and the other thing too, it's interesting when you make the team, like Patrick Reed is the example.
Spieth made it.
Captain
He was
America.
great. Patrick Reed has been in a horrible slump for the last month and a half. You go through slumps, I don't care what level of golf you play, you get into a funk. Patrick Reed was in a funk. Now, if you could have picked the team a week before, Patrick Reed never would have made.
Although again, his earlier Ryder Cup stellar play,
Right.
and he did win the Masters. I mean, I
And
don't
he
think that
still
was a crazy
he
pick.
still won. He still
He won
played
his
okay.
he won the last singles, I think.
I mean, I guess I can understand it. Golf is such an individual game. And how often do these guys finish around a golf and go over to Wendy's for a big Baconator and a Frosty? It does.
That's me every time I play golf.
Well, that's me too. But I just felt like they were separate companies
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
playing.
The Europeans had a lot of guys playing with a lot of heart.
And I agree with. I think they will have a bunch of
They
beers,
have a good time.
beers
They-
at night.
And I'll be honest, I'm an American. Last time I checked, I was totally no problem with the Europeans deserved it.
Yeah.
They were more into it, better team and stuff. You're right. I mean, Ian Poulter, you see anybody on America that has a quarter of the pizzazz, the intensity that guy has?
Yeah.
and he's been working for the last 2 years to get his standings up high enough so that he could play on the Ryder Cup.
And of course, he was
That's
a- he
all
was a-
he wanted to
Yep.
do.
He was a captain's pick, but he was a legit legit
He
pick.
sure
won
is.
he won a tourney earlier
the
this
guy
year.
made some putts too. My God, he's tough.
But my hat's off to the European. You know, no, I don't mean to beat up on the Americans, but it just seems like Ryder Cup.
Well, what they
Just
got to
means
do
so much more to Europe. I mean, that's a huge thing on their resume.
Right.
I mean,
So-
Colin Montgomery can beat him up for never winning a major, a U.S. major.
Right.
Guess what he is? I don't think he's ever lost a Ryder Cup match.
Yeah.
So is
He'll
this
go
like
to his grave. That's a big thing for him.
is this like the World Cup for like comparing it to like how important it is in America to Argentina or Brazil?
Yeah, I guess you could say. I mean, kind of. I mean, the President's Cup doesn't come up to it. That's, of course, the U.S. against
The rest of the world.
non-European-
Yeah.
the rest of the
David,
world.
I mean, hearing you talk about the Minnesota golf course 2 years ago, where you put it,
Bomb
They
away.
mowed everything.
you're hitting a
Bomb
number
away.
tee box one, you put it into the number 10 fairway, but you still can easily.
It's like Champlain Country
Right.
Club. You can't make a bad shot.
Right.
You can always recover.
And
Exactly.
I'm much more impressed
So-
with the course. It's so, like I said, the sea pines at Hilton Head. It's you have overhanging trees. You have to, you
gotta
be
put the
smart
ball-
about what you're doing. I love courses.
So
like
do you
that.
know where the Ryder Cup is in 2 years?
I'm sure we know somewhere, but
Oh yes, I do. Is it Whistling, Wisconsin, where they
Whistling
had the
Pines?
Whistling Strait? I think
Whistling Straits, yeah.
Wisconsin.
Okay, I don't have a
so
recollection.
you know they'll shave that
Dumb it-
baby right
dumb it
down.
right
Oh
down.
sure.
Now what they ought to do is 4 years from now, when they pick the team, pick the guys
Really?
that hit the ball in the middle of the fairway.
Fairway.
But you can't. How do you get rid of Brooks Koepka? The guy won two majors.
Back-to-back majors.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't. But he didn't do anything.
No.
And Dustin Johnson, he's back to being number one player, isn't he? Didn't he? Is he number one or is Justin Rose?
Justin
Rose.
Rose. Justin Rose is number one.
All right, so you
He's
got to
probably number
take
two.
you got to take Dustin Johnson. Patrick Reed won the Masters. You got to take him.
Yeah.
So
They just have to use, hey, Dustin, hate to tell you, don't hit a driver and don't want to hit a 350. Settle for, 275 with a 3-wood if that's what you have to
Right,
do.
and put
I
it on
mean,
the fairway.
do what you got to do.
well, Phil Mickelson on one of the holes, one of the par fives, hit a 3-iron and put that in the water.
Of course, it ended with him
Yeah.
hitting in the water on the 16th, the par 3. That's what ended it.
Yeah.
Well, I always say that dumb players can't play smart, and every time I try to play smart, I screw it up.
Yeah.
So you might as well just play dumb and let
Yeah.
the chips fall where they may.
Yeah. 'Cause if you're a halfway decent golfer, you play around a golf. When you get off the course, you're going to count more mental mistakes you made than physical.
Oh,
But I love
Physical
how the
mistakes.
U.S. is actually favored. Did I just read that? The U.S. was favored to
I
win.
didn't know that.
Anybody,
yeah?
Anybody who said that's crazy. They just don't realize what happens in the Ryder
Yeah.
Cup. But anyway.
No, our guys don't have grit. A lot of their guys come from working class families,
Probably some of them.
regular Joes that had to. If you guys watch, what's his name there? My buddy. He's Faraday.
Oh, yeah.
You ever watch when he does this?
Sure.
Ian Poulter. They go back to his house where he was born. I mean, it's about as big as a bathroom.
All right.
You go back to
Yeah.
Rory McIlroy, blue collar guy.
Northern
Northern
Ireland.
Ireland.
Those guys, all those guys. Now you look at our guys.
Yeah.
I don't want to say anything about Spieth. Spieth's a good kid, but
Yeah, he's a
I'm
good
sure
kid.
his family's got money.
Yeah.
House is bigger than your dealership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They,
And
Phil
David,
Mickelson grew up in a lap of luxury. I mean, Tiger Woods, even though his dad was poor, Nike was subsidizing him from about the time he was 14 years old.
All
yeah.
right, yeah.
Because one guy on the opposite end of the coin that we all love, Jason Day,
There's a guy came up the
Perfect,
hard
yeah.
way.
Another
wrong
hard
side of
scrabble
the
guy.
tracks right there.
Absolutely.
And there's a guy that could come right in here or go to Burger King with us after and just be a normal guy.
great
He,
guy.
Even Keegan Bradley's it was from Woodstock, so
yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Well,
Hey,
even-
Woodstock's
people in
not real
Woodstock.
Vermont, let me tell you.
Right.
Right, I was just going to say, even though Keegan Bradley was brought up from Vermont, I think
Yes,
Woodstock
that's what
is,
I'm saying is-
the highest
right. Woodstock and
Economic
Stowe are
town.
not
Yeah,
Vermont.
still comes
Oh,
back
you
to
can throw Manchester,
Manchester.
in there too.
Yeah.
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 Because
Yeah.
we just for our, I haven't seen you guys in so long.
It's been a long time.
Went to
Did you go to Hildene?
We did go to Hildene.
We took the kid to Hildene last year.
I've
Isn't that
got
a cool
a.
place?
Isn't that
It's
amazing?
the Lincoln, President Lincoln's family, beautiful place in Manchester, Vermont.
President Lincoln.
Hildene.
His boy Robert
As in
Todd
Abraham,
Lincoln.
his kid bought this place.
Oh, I didn't.
Like late
this is all
1800s.
news to me.
What
Great place.
happened was the Lincolns used to summer in Manchester.
You're talking Mary,
I'm talking Mary
And
and the
Abe?
family.
Abe summered in Vermont?
Abe, I'm not sure if Abe
Sure,
did,
I'm not sure Abe made it,
because
but
during the Civil War, I don't think he ever left.
Yeah.
But he sent
this
the
is his
family.
kid's place, his son's place for years.
So his son Robert, who became quite famous on his own, he was a couple of cabinet secretary of war and this and that. Where he really made his fortune was he was the chief lawyer for the Pullman Car Company. Now, at that time, Pullman
And they have a cool Pullman car.
They got a
They
Pullman
got
car
a great
there, too.
Pullman car there.
Pullman was the largest manufacturing, the biggest manufacturer in the United States at the time. Pullman died, they made Lincoln the chairman of the board. And back then, in the late 1800s, when you made $1 million, you kept $1 million because there was no income tax, there was
Right.
no nothing.
Yeah.
Plus, he built that house, I think they said, what did it cost, like $100,000 back then?
Yeah, sounds about right.
And so
It's
it'd
a
be
big,
like 10
beautiful
million
place.
or 50 million today, some crazy thing.
Nice place.
And so he bought this land in Manchester and built the house in 1902. And actually, it was built as a real family house. And the Lincoln family was there up until not too long ago.
Fairly recently.
And now, of course, it's
A nonprofit runs it and stuff.
That was my question. Do you have daily tours?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure. You pay whatever, 10, 20
It's
bucks to get in,
beautiful.
but it's a neat place.
It's probably the most beautiful piece of real estate in the whole state because
You got
you've
mountains. You got the Green Mountains on
Mountains-
the east and the Taconic Mountains on the west. It's a beautiful
It's-
spot.
I feel dumb. I've never even
I
knew
will.
this.
Beautiful spot.
I can actually show you a picture, but I won't. I'll save it for later. But anyway, so we stayed. The last few years we've been deciding to go for our honeymoon, not honeymoon, but our anniversary in Vermont.
That's great. Good for you guys.
This
Did
year
you
we
stay down there? Did
We
you stay
stayed at the
down?
Equinox.
Oh, really? Wow. Another famous place.
Well, it's fancy. I don't think it's worth the money,
Few-
but
few bucks.
I did it. We did it.
That's cool. Good
It was
for you
only.
guys.
We were only over there for 2 nights, and but the year before, we went to Woodstock, stayed at a bed and breakfast, and that's when we did the Calvin Coolidge thing.
Because we did Calvin we did the Coolidge.
David,
homestead on the same trip.
how close is Woodstock to Manchester?
Hour and a half. It's
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
not
something like
Manchester. The only way you get to Manchester, you got to go to Rutland and keep
Manchester's
going
just
south.
Route 7. Just keeps going south of Rutland, an hour south of Rutland or so.
And then a couple years before that, we went to a place called the Wildflower Inn in Lyndonville on Burke Mountain.
Oh, yeah?
Or not in Linden, but it's on Burke Mountain, wherever that is.
Huh.
And that was really beautiful too, a whole different thing. But you drive around Vermont and you get outside of Chittenden County and you get outside of Franklin County, the rest of the state is really struggling. There is nothing going on except tourism.
Tourism is a biggie.
That's all they've got. You get to Manchester, there's nothing going on there
Yeah.
except taking care of rich out-of-staters.
Great. Did you go? Great books to the Northshire bookstore. Great bookstore. in
No,
Manchester. One of the state's best bookstores.
Do you know one of the top athletic high schools in the state, Burton, from Manchester?
No, that's
Money
Manchester.
equates to success.
Wow,
in high
what
school.
Burton
That's
does.
all right. That's in Manchester.
Many
What?
trips down there in high school.
Burton is a private school.
Yeah, that's right.
And then they just send a bill
The local kids go
to the
there.
to the town of Manchester,
Right.
and they send their kids there.
Right.
That's what all the schools should do.
Yeah.
And that way, there they get
As in a la St. Johnsbury Academy.
BFA until about 10, 15 years ago, but that's another sad story.
Well, I can go to school anywhere I want, right? Today, like I live in St.
No,
Albans town.
it depends where you live.
I thought I had the right to go to Missisquoi if I felt like.
Nah,
Depends where you live. If you're in Georgia, I think you can.
Georgia
That's
can.
an open. You can go
Right,
to
and
any school, I
Sheldon can
guess.
go to
Right.
3 schools.
Right.
Okay.
There's
School situations
It's not
can be
as
pretty weird.
You just can't go to wherever you want to go. I don't think.
I mean, I suppose you can if you pay the tuition, but I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
No, I
believe
don't think it's that
if you
simple.
if you're in like a specific
I
extending
mean,
community.
if you're in Swanton, you got to go to NVU. You can't
Right,
go to
but you
anyplace
could go
else.
to Enosburg, but you have to pay. So I mean, it's
You can go to BFA.
But somebody residing in Sheldon can go to Enosburg,
yes, MVU
BFA, or
BFA.
Right. Yeah.
There's Haldane.
Just like people on the
Oh,
islands.
you want
like,
to see Hilton?
David, I will tell you, it's shameful that I have never been to Cooperstown. I think it's even more shameful.
And myself,
I've
I
never
drove
seen.
Sam.
I drove past it.
Fuck, maybe that'd be a
last
trip.
week.
Maybe we could pull out.
You know what it
Never
reminds
been
me of?
there.
The old Governor
Coolidge,
Smith.
Calvin Coolidge, I would love to see his.
Oh, that was
does.
great.
Yeah, that's a
Great
great
place.
picture, David.
Yeah, it's
Calvin
a cool
Coolidge
plan.
is like taking a snapshot
that is a
of
good-
1925, because that's just how they left it.
Yeah. So, let's see. One quick note, David. Guess what band I saw Sunday night?
No.
Guess. Take a guess. Sunday night, I went down to Rutland.
Monkeys.
No, Three Dog Night.
Oh, how was it?
So this is all the original. Some of the original.
No. Corey Wells died of cancer a few years ago. Chuck Negron was fired. He had a serious drug issue.
Was fire.
But these guys are in their 70s. 2 of the original band members, then a couple others, just very old. They
So
sounded
good show.
Oh, the music was fantastic. I was shocked how good they sounded.
Really?
However, the concert lasted all of an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, no.
Now,
That's all they played?
Yeah, driving to Rutland's about 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Fuck, your
Yes.
cost-benefit ratio doesn't
What-
sound very
no,
impressive.
that was not good. And I went to 99 to eat, and I had steak tips.
Yeah, Rutland's got some good restaurants.
Rutland's got a, and she goes, well, king size? Like, of course. Duke, I had a plate full of steak tips. I mean, it was like a half a
99?
cow. Yeah,
So
the
that's where I'm
restaurant
meeting
99.
tomorrow night with
And
my buddy
speaking of
Alex
which,
in Williston.
I think it was my wife asked me, I said, I bet Duke knows, because I think 99 originated out of Massachusetts. What does
Could be.
What does 99 mean?
I can't tell you that.
I can't
but
tell
I'm
you
gonna,
either.
That's funny. I'm going to eat there with my buddy Alex
I can
tomorrow,
look it
tomorrow
up.
night in Williston. I think.
Yeah. So
They have
so,
a bunch of good $9.99
Yeah.
specials.
Yeah.
That's
so
what I'll- that's what
that
I'll
was
sell
that
it
was a
for.
long haul.
And they give you
Eh,
popcorn, right? They
yeah,
start you with
eh,
popcorn.
And that's not interstate driving. All Route 7.
It's allows you.
So I told you, Howard Johnson started in Massachusetts, not far from me. I think like Braintree. Hojo's is out of
Did Dunkin'
Eastern
Donuts
Mass.
start out of
Oh, in fact, we were
Massachusetts?
there.
The
You and
original
I-
Dunkin' Donuts.
You and I went, and Nighthawk, the nicest guy in the world, we come out of Dunkin' Donuts, the original one,
Yep.
on Route 3A in either Weymouth or Quincy. Guy comes up to Nighthawk, comes up to us, hey, I lost my wallet. I gotta drive down to the Cape or something and I need gas. Can you help me? I'm looking at this guy. Hey, buddy, get out of my life. Nighthawk, of course, gets his wallet out and probably gives him like a nice guy. The Nighthawk
gave
gives
him
him
20.
a 20. Unbelievable. The last thing I would have done. You're a better guy than me, Nighthawk. Yeah,
Well,
that was the original.
yeah.
They've now dropped donuts off the name. The new ones are just Dunkin'.
Dunkin'.
But we were in the original.
Yeah. So I just want to mention
Hockey season
DVR is all
starting
set.
as we speak, right?
the Habs are in Toronto tonight for the opening night.
Are they going to win 20 games
Well,
this year?
let me tell you this, David. There's 31 hockey teams
Are
in
they
the
the
NHL.
worst?
They're ranked 28th
Are they
out
really?
of 31.
Yeah, they're going to be bad.
Boston is
What do they
ranked
be? It's like fifth or sixth?
sixth.
Six?
And of course, Seattle is doing all the right things. They will start either in 2020, 2021.
What about Quebec?
Sorry, Quebec City.
Quebec's not. They're not going to come
Dude,
back
probably-
until
Will
it's
they
not
ever?
worth it.
Now, Seattle, David, is spending, and I don't know how much of the taxpayers are footing the bill, but I'm sure some, $770 million.
That's the entrance fee?
Yeah.
No, to build the new.
No,
I'm sorry, to build
the
the
key
arena.
arena. Right.
is that
with
right?
Right, and I'm sure the Supersonics eventually will
And that's
come back.
basketball and hockey,
Right,
obviously.
right. So Seattle, whatever their team will
All right,
be called.
770 mil?
Yeah,
But
so-
what's
I
the
think-
entrance fee to get in, do you know? Like
Oh,
50
it's-
mil or
Oh,
something?
I would
It was
say,
100 million. wasn't
100
it?
mil?
yeah, my
more?
guess
And
is
it
probably
like everything
closer to-
doubled when Vegas
Really?
when Vegas went to the Stanley Cup because they said, "Hey, look what
Yeah.
look what the expansion team did
Yeah.
last year."
I saw the
But
new
poor
hockey arena.
Quebec City.
Well, yeah, and it's not going to happen in Quebec City because the exchange rate is so
The
bad.
market
There's no
exchange
way
rate.
they can make
But-
any money.
and that's the problem.
And you can't-
78 cents on the dollar.
Right, and then you've got you've got the language barrier as well. That was a huge problem when they were first there.
Yeah.
I think that it would be a great place for hockey to be played. You know, anytime anytime there's a chance for a new team to come to Canada, I think that's a great opportunity. But it's just not realistic.
Well, they
There's
just
no way to
built
make money.
a
off it.
brand new
They got a nice
stadium
They
2
do,
years
yeah.
ago.
Absolutely.
And we all assumed you build it, they will come.
Right.
I saw the arena from a distance this summer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Well,
Hey,
you go
is,
to Quebec
is
City?
Calgary
I
playing at
was in
home?
Quebec City earlier this
Look, is
summer.
Calgary
Small market
opening at
city,
home?
too.
Guess what's been going on in Calgary?
The Stampede? I don't know.
Now, how about significant snow?
Oh, really?
Early hit of serious snow in
Yeah.
Calgary.
So the
That was
Bees
serious,
open
yeah.
up in Buffalo tomorrow night.
They're in Washington tonight.
Who?
The Bruins are in
Bruins.
one.
Oh, the Bruins open tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
sure.
They're
Against
playing
the- against the
at
champs.
Washington in about.
Before we
10
go, we
minutes.
only got
It's
10
big.
minutes. What about your Giants?
David, I'm trying to avoid football talk. All right.
You wore all the Giants.
I know,
stuff. We
but-
have to.
Well,
but
I
all
can't
that-
help it. You're wearing
okay.
that Giant hat.
And I want to bring this up. This will be a shock to you. There's 11 teams in Hockey East. The coaches' poll came out yesterday.
Let me guess,
Where's
9 or
UVM
10
ranked?
for
11?
UVM?
10 out of 11. And
They'll never be good until Snedden's gone.
the perennial bottom feeder, Merrimack, is always 11th.
Oh, yeah. So 10th?
Yeah. And so this is the last season of the old Gutterson Fieldhouse.
Yeah.
Then-
Season starts
Wow.
when, Hawk? Soon?
They have a exhibition game against Laurentian next week.
Yeah.
Then I
Couple-
think
couple
they
weeks.
go out to Michigan
Yeah.
and they open up against Quinnipiac. on the-
Quinnipiac.
Quinnipiac.
You're close.
Well,
You're
I have
close.
never pronounced that
You're
school.
close.
That's
Quinnipiac's
a
a good
mouthful,
school.
that one.
It is.
Up and,
Quinnipiac.
boy, talk about up and coming
and
college.
talking about spending money, they built a brand new arena about 4 years ago, and coincidentally, their hockey team is one of the top
Yeah.
God,
programs.
They
haven't
almost
they
won
won?
the
If they haven't won
state,
a nat, they've been in the final Frozen Four.
Yeah.
At least.
They
once,
used to
right?
be a D2. They were in
Right.
St. Mike's League, for God's sake.
Yep.
They've come. It's an up and coming
Yeah,
college, big time.
and it's just, and I probably won't even go to a UVM hockey game this year unless somebody
Really?
says, "Hey, I have a ticket, want to go?" I'm not paying $25 to see that. I mean, they're terrible.
David, as a UVM alum, I'm sure you can attest. Remember, it used to be a 20-year waiting list
It was
to get a
awful,
UVM
yeah.
hockey.
This-
game?
was a
I
huge
I
story every
actually
year.
heard we've been running a promo on 101.3 The
Yeah.
Game,
Yeah.
where it's Kevin Snedden and he's like, if you buy season tickets now, you'll get a free replica jersey.
I cannot
They're
believe it.
begging
Right.
people to
I'm
get
on the
season tickets.
computer the other night. Pop-up comes for UVM season
Right.
tickets,
that right?
and I waited for years before I got
Right.
my tickets.
Oh, that was such a huge story for years. How tough it was to
It was
get into
even
a
if you weren't a
UVM
hockey
game.
fan, it was the place to be seen.
Right.
You had hockey to. Now my grandson calls me last night, 5 years old, Jackson. Gramps, how many more days until the
Really?
hockey game?
Is that right?
Yeah. Well,
I love
but-
going to the games, but
Well,
it's just,
right.
it's $25.
I like. I usually
get
go
in, and
with
it's
a
just,
couple games.
Right.
I still love going to a game.
it's just not worth it.
Hey, when I was at UVM, you got for $60, you got a packet of tickets, all the home games, and they made you take the basketball games
Right.
too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't even go to a basketball game.
Is
Now
that
the
right? You didn't
basketball
go to any
games
basketball?
are-
Now the basketball
Right.
is
Yeah.
good. and the hockey stinks.
Basketball was
Hockey
pretty brutal
tickets
then, right?
this year was $864.
Is that
the
right?
full season?
Yeah.
Boy, that's not a cheap day.
No, it isn't. As he says, $24 a
Unbelievable.
It's not a cheap day.
It's,
And I can assure you, Red, when they open up the refurbished Gutterson,
it'll
supposedly
go up.
prices will go up.
Well, they got to upgrade the quality of their hockey.
Yeah, and I, you know where I sit, Duke, right? Great seats,
No,
second
great-
best seats
great
in the house.
seats.
Now, when they refurb, they're going to look at a guy like me and say, we're going to let what's the Victory Club? They'll take a bum like me and stick me in the corner of the arena or something like that. But
yeah, it's too bad because, you know, UVM, they've got that history there. But, you know, Snedden is just such a bad coach.
Didn't they just re-up him
right,
for a
that's
couple,
the question
3
I
years?
have
And
for you.
everybody's saying why. And there is not one person on this earth who agreed with that.
There's just no pressure. I mean,
even
there's
his
just
former
no
players.
pressure on
I
this
don't know
guy.
if you remember Brady Shaw at all.
Yeah.
But Brady Shaw was
from a Vermonter, wasn't he?
yeah. He on Twitter the other day, like back after Snedden got at the end of the year last year when they were just awful. He said he said something on Twitter to the tune of, this is why all the players hate being at UVM, and this is why they transfer early and sign pro early, because they hate being here.
Really?
So it's just there's no development. They bring in all these great talents because they're a Hockey East school. They have a great arena, they really do, but there's no development there because they have a Pee Wee coach behind the bench. I mean, the guy doesn't know left from right when it comes to hockey. He can't develop any talent. Look at Mike Paliotta, drafted in the second round.
Yep,
He's played maybe one NHL game in his career. I mean, come on.
I remember calling someone a couple years ago. Couldn't make it a hockey game last minute. You want my hockey tickets? Free. He goes to me, "Are you out of your effing mind? Who would want to go down to UVM hockey
Is that
game?"
right?
So, but my driving force is my grandkid likes it.
I still love being in. I love being in there.
I want to be there
Fun.
for the.
It's
the
good to be
the
there.
new refurb because.
Hockey, you're such a loyal, good
It's
fan.
fun to be
But
there.
of course,
but
David,
it's
I
just-
can assure you, it'll be so difficult to get into a UVM basketball game. They're getting a brand new state-of-the-art arena between the gut and Patrick
UVM
Gym.
basketball is really going to be taking off.
David,
Like
you want to
another
talk
very
football?
good
I want to talk about the Giants because I've actually watched all the games.
Boy, my
Did they make
my
the wrong move and
condolences.
not getting a quarterback?
No. Okay.
I think they took the right guy too.
Boy,
That's
wouldn't you
right.
say a lot of people, if you put that to a poll of Giants fans, wouldn't you get a strong majority saying yes, bad move?
but their line is so bad.
Okay, I have been
That's what you said.
accused of being an apologist for Eli Manning.
Yeah.
And you know me, I said I've seen every snap he's ever made.
I can
Tony
unfortunately remember a
Romo,
few
Tony
of them.
Romo this past week was the color guy. He said 4 times during the show that this is not a good offensive line. He said Eli Manning cannot do what Eli Manning wants to do because he does not have enough time to get back in the pocket and throw downfield. Now,
But does
Eli,
that beg the question that maybe a younger, more mobile quarterback would have been the way to go, given a lousy offensive
No.
line,
You
who wouldn't
look at
need
it-
quite as much time? No.
Because you've got that inexperience, I think that would just
Stan Darnold,
lead
aside
to-
from the first game, has been terrible.
Right, I
But
think that
he still
leads
might
to
be a good
just
quarterback.
a quarterback panicking.
Eli Manning has a lifetime completion rate of 59.7, which is below average.
Yeah.
Do you know what his completion rate is this year? 74.2.
Really?
Leads the NFL.
Well, it's because
But
he's
it's all the
passing
passes.
for-
Right.
for
It's
yards.
because
Passes,
I'm Eli Manning. Dave is whoever. He's a dink passer because he's
That's why
running-
Saquon's been doing so well,
Right.
is because he catches 10
Right.
balls a game.
Saquon Barkley breaks the giant record with 14 catches in the game.
Is that right?
80 yards.
Right, and that was the thing.
80,
70,
80.
70 or 80 yards. It
Really?
was like Manning
14
was,
catches?
Oh, it's terrible. The offensive line on the right side is so
Minutes.
bad.
Is that right? Boy, that sounds
and
like
we're
a tough
playing-
time for you guys.
And this past week, Patriots play the undefeated Dolphins. And I'm thinking I can't watch in Giants are on. Lo and behold, we have the 4:25 game. I record the
Yeah.
game. It's 24-0.
I didn't even see it.
When
Listened
push
to a
comes
little.
to shove of the Patriots.
Don't worry about the
Don't
Patriots.
worry, right? Don't worry about
Yeah.
the
Great
Patriots.
comment was it was one of the Globe writers. The Patriots lose 3 games in a row about as often as Bill Belichick gives you a detailed injury report in his post-game press conference.
Yeah.
I like the new coach for the Giants. I like their defense. It's better.
Well, they get Olivier Vernon back this week, and Josh Morrow, a free agent from Arizona, had a 4-game drug suspension. He's back this week.
I think the Giants are in a good spot. This is just not going to be a good year for them. They have a lot of stuff that they need to work on still. I think, give them 2-3 years while they put these building blocks in place. I think they're going to be a really good
I'm
team.
looking at the mock draft for next April, and they have 7 teams above us, just mocking it, as I said. All 7 teams already have a quarterback.
Right, that's the big thing.
So
Giants
Justin
could get a top
Herbert
quarterback.
is the
Yeah,
top
from
quarterback
Oregon.
from Oregon. 6'6", Dave, 230. This guy's a gunslinger. So if we want our quarterback, and Gettleman said there wasn't a quarterback worthy of the 2nd overall pick, and I agreed with him. So that's it. So that hour and a half went by quick, and guys, it was great to get the whole group.
Welcome back, Mr. Handy.
Thank you.
Good
Glad to
have
be
you
here.
back.
Good to see you.
Nick Hawk, good job, guys.
So that is it for Zach, Super Dave, Red, the Duke. I'm the Nighthawk, and until next week, everyone, remember, you do not have to be a great athlete to be a good sport. Ciao for now.
See ya.
David and I were